So, hello. I recently made a video on TikTok explaining why nilikata a job ya 25K. And that video has been it's like my most viral video yet. 50, I think sahi imegonga 49 going to 50,000 now at 105,000 views. Kumaanisha Wakenya wengi tunapitia huku nje. The job economy is not where we want it to be. A lot of graduates we are overtrained. We have an influx of professionals in each and every field. And in comparison to the number of jobs zenye ziko huku nje. Now, when I made the video, I didn't make the video to bash anyone necessarily, but it was coming from a point of frustration and what I would consider fairness. But staki ikue ikae kama ni entitlement ya lazima ni, we'll explain in full detail, and which explain tena that this was a place yenye nilikuwa nimefanya ukiingia ni probation, but apparently when we were discussing it was an internship. And the fact that nimemaliza hizo 3 months and then niingie tena tukidiscuss niambia tena I have to do another 3 months probation. For me, I consider probation periods by companies, with companies that is, as a period whereby kila mtu, you as the employer and me as the employee, tunafanya kazi pamoja to see whether we are good fit. And also you're getting to assess my skills. So I have seen any, what's it called, like judgment when it comes to probation. I understand the need for it. Hutaki ku hire a skill, or you don't want to hire someone who you wouldn't benefit the company. And even me, I wouldn't want to stay somewhere where I don't see any means of growth. But when it came to this case that I did quite point out was the fact that hapo penye nilikuwa, we already did that. Even I feel like even 3 months is too long, because for me, kama ni kampuni nataka assess skills and the value that you'd be able to bring to the company, considering they consider that they are the ones with the bigger power, because ni unakuja kuenda kuemployiwa huko. I feel even in a month you should be able to tell if this is someone you want to work with. 3 months, for me, let's us all be considerate to the employee, because some of us unajua umekuja huku, you want to earn you want to earn, at least make ends meet, in that unaweza enda kazi na unaweza lipia for your utilities. Now, as I had mentioned in that video, and in fact, instead of saying that as I had mentioned in that video, let me start explaining that whole story kwanza. So this is a place I had worked for 3 months, but because I had school at the same time, if you count the number of days I was there, it wasn't exactly add up equal 3 months. Private sectors are very keen on their days and on their hours. Like they'll bill you. I feel like they calculate your value cost down to the hour. So at okay, cost a day and you don't compensate for that day, I'm telling you, mshahara yako inakatwa. Fine by me and fine by me. So benye nilipatanga job in that place, I happen to have gotten a scholarship through the KCB to Jiajiri program, and I chosen a multimedia course because personally I come from a graphic design background, but nilikuwa nataka kuelevate so that I can include like video editing, I can include photography, I can include videography, and then couple it up with my graphic design and brand identity background. So now I become like I'm more of a powerhouse. So I knew, even as much as I was applying to roles and skills huku nje, if they all came together and I had to pick one, I choose the one person who has invested in me more, and that was KCB. To put it in full context, KCB scholarship was 98,000. Where am I going to get 98,000 to go and invest in those skills? So nikipewa, of course I'll choose them. I'll definitely choose them. Kwa nini nisiwachague? But I was very honest when I got the role, and I shared it with my employer, and we were on good terms. So when ilikuwa inafanya kazi is I would work part-time, because now at that point you're not full-time, but I was still on probation. So for whole August, September, October, November-ish, because niliingia August 2 weeks to August kuisha, so nilitoka huko pia November 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks of November, then that would have concluded my whole 3 months. And I did my work. It was a very exciting role. I got to work with the equipment that I normally wouldn't have found access to. So the 3 months came, they're over. I'm seeing sasa na I'm done with school. Now another thing watu walikuwa naagi kwa comments yangu ni that shule yangu, that school, I'm not exactly straight out of uni. That's an additional certificate. I've already done my degree in design, and now I was adding this certificate. So technically I have a degree and a certificate and not years of experience, but some experience even prior to entering this company. So they are not my first gig within this industry. So you couple all of these factors as I add in. Now, I'm going to try also and be the devil's advocate, nikiwa the other side, and see maybe where they're also coming from. So, I'm working part-time. When you're working part-time, sometimes that can lead to challenges like labda haukuko fully understand how the company works, but I did definitely do my best because I was working all the way till Saturdays because nilikuwa na classes hadi Saturdays asubuhi, so I would go Saturdays jioni. So technically me, the only day of rest I had was Sabbath, Sunday for me. So let's say labda maybe I didn't have the proper time to fully understand the company, but in my own personal like experience, I feel like I was able, even within that short time, nilikuwa communicate a bit of value. I want to point out that most companies, I know in Kenya, when it comes to looking for attachments and internships, there are places where you're actually required to pay for internships, which I don't think is legal. I don't think it's legal because for me, I know government sectors, or at least good government sectors, pay their attaches and pay their interns attaches. Normally rates are normally 10,000 Kenya shillings. Kanga ukijua hivyo ukienda apply. I just want to educate people who don't know. Attachment rates are normally 10,000 Kenya shillings, and internship rates in government offices is 25. But of course, at ukiwa like an intern, kuna venye bado, I think bado unachajiwa for a bit of taxes. So you won't get exactly the full 25,000. You will definitely be getting around 22, almost 23, 22, almost 23. And that is for an intern. So by the time, of course, if they are to absorb you as a full-time employee, I don't think you'll be starting at 25, maybe 50 with benefits, but that's just the government. The private sector is a whole different ball game. I think the private sector to me is like Hunger Games. Mwenye anaweza approve anaweza letea hii kampuni pesa vizuri, but at the same time have the company take your value and understand your value and be willing to compensate you accordingly, is a whole different ball game. The private sector for me doesn't have standard rates, not like the government. The government does have standard rates. The private sector doesn't tend to have standard rates. Unaweza kupata for the same role kwa hii kampuni unaweza kwa 30 Gs, kwa ingine ni 15. Kwa bigger companies it could be 100 Gs. It's about where you land and the scope and their budget, and if you know how to negotiate for yourself. So my 3 months of probation are over. Nimeenda break, sort of like a leave, because juggling school and juggling work, it tends to outweigh on you. Alafu tena unajua commute hours. Since I am being paid, okay, at least they were fortunate and gracious enough to provide for me my transport allowance. I'm being paid. I have transport to go there, but I can't really afford to live closer to work because again, 10,000 in the Nairobi inaishia literally kwa transport, na hiyo ni stick strictly to public means. I used to take 3 cars from where I stay so that I get to where I need to go, and then 3 cars back. So that's like 4 to 6 hours of commute time. in and out, Monday to no, not every single day, because I would go there on Tuesday, I would go there on Thursday, I'd go there on Friday, and I'd go there on Saturday. So Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and then the other days I'd be in school. Anyways, so we're commuting on average 4 to 6 hours because of traffic. Traffic is also bad in this Nairobi. Yeah. But the 3 months are over, nimeenda break, nimekuja, so we are supposed to come back and discuss or negotiate my salary. Again, I did my research. No, mi singewahi advice mse akuje afanye nini inaitwaje, singewahi kuadvise uende kampuni for an interview and you haven't done your research to know how much people are paid for your role, to know how much, like what sort of benefits they get. The best way to do so is enda LinkedIn, tafuta wase wamefanya kazi kwa hiyo kampuni na they have left, they're not there, they have left, they have no reason to lie to you. I feel like most of the time they tend to be the honest people. Watakwambia this is it, if they like you, this is how it is, this is their salary structure, this is the company culture, so ujue penye unaenda. So when I got there, I've discussed, I negotiated for 70 to 90, but I negotiated for 70 to 90 in that waki bargain down equals 60 Gs minimum, and that's basic salary. So I know definitely by the time nitolewe shift, nitolewe SHA, nitolewe pension, nitolewe housing levy, I don't, obviously you're not pocketing 60. You're definitely pocketing less than that. But at least I'm somewhere where at least I'm good. And I'm not, and again, never ever negotiate at a job that oh, Nairobi is expensive. They know Nairobi is expensive. They don't care if Nairobi is expensive. And I'm not saying this to say it in like a bad way. It's just that when you're negotiating, at least from my little experience, you negotiate on your value, skills, and skill set. You negotiate like, this is what I'm doing, this is what you want me to do for you, this is my workload, blah blah blah, this is what I can project growth into the company at this rate, nini nini. Never that, oh, Nairobi is expensive. Guess what, there's still someone who's surviving in Nairobi for 10K, for even less than that. So I don't think that's a good bargaining point, but I do appreciate employers who do factor that in. 25, 30, 40. 40, it's all relative to the country. Unajua ukilipa msee 50K nako, I don't know, let's put them in Samburu. You see, that's hapo cost of living pia ina matter, but that's not the way to bargain. I wouldn't even advise anyone to bargain like that. So I've said that wameenda back and forth. So the manager negotiates on behalf of me to the employer, then to the directors, and then the directors come back with the response to the manager. So long story short, wakanyambia budget yao ni 25K. Now why I found this is unacceptable was because I did not find 25K unacceptable because 25K is little money. No money, sometimes it's better to still have money of some sort, but I found it unacceptable because of the factors surrounding the 25, like the whole job prospect. First of all, the workload. You're going to do your job scope, but I was there long enough to see that there was also a bit of work that was not under your job scope that you'd actually have to do. So there is that. Two, the fact that it's you're going to go to work 6 days a week, although provided that the 6 days still half day, but that's not even such as it wasn't like at a big issue like that. So let's take you like a small point, but it wasn't really like a deal breaker. The third one was because, as I mentioned before, I was there enough to see the company invest into equipment. Like I was able to pitch for a phone, an iPhone, for content creation for the company, and there was no budget limitations when I was limiting. All I was asked for was what type of phone do you need and the specs. The budget was none of my business. So that illustrate, okay, this company can invest in technology. They are committed to producing quality output. So are they going to be committed to investing in the employee? I don't know. But I found out, you know. Alafu, I also again had recommended someone. um I had recommended a photographer into the company. Remember, my specialties is in graphic design, and as much as I've added multimedia like photography and video editing, it's not exactly, I'm not even going to sit here and lie and say I'm as good as a specialized photographer of 5 years. Of course not. But at least I know I can, when they're not there, I can double in all of these skills at once, and it be good, like fair. But fair and quality is relative to where you're working for, and that one ni sawa. I don't even take it with a grain of salt. For me, I think it's more about practicing, upscaling, and making sure you're very good at your craft. And of course, make it no piga kelele. Everyone and anyone should know that I do this and this and this, and I can help you with this and this and that. Anyways, going back to what I said, I had seen during my time period, we had outsourced two different photographers. One of them was my friend, and hakuninyima, because ni mimi nilimrecommendea hiyo job. Hakuninyima kuniambia like how much walikuwa nalipa, which was alilipa for one day photo shoot, which was 20K. So kumbuka, this is all prior to me negotiating. So I was like, you know what, I think I kind of would actually love to work with this company, because their commitment to excellence and quality is ukoju. They invest in talent, they invest in technology to help the talent. So I was factoring all of these things, or all of these factors in. And then lastly, kumbuka, I said you always do your research before fike kwa interview. So mi nilikuwa nishaambiwa how to negotiate, or what figures to negotiate with, because already someone was there before me and who advised me on how to go along the process of asking for budget. So now when you lafu, I even almost forgot. Ukiingia pia kulikuwa na company laptop, and when you have that company laptop, mwenye alikuwa mbele yangu, the creative assistant before me, aliacha salary slip yake. So I was able to see, okay, this girl's been paid 30 G's full time. That's basic salary. So by the time alikuwa anakatwa everything I've mentioned, shift, SHA, housing levy, pays you earn, whatever, what haven't I mentioned? Whatever. All these taxes and deductions, unaweza ingiza around 25, which is similar to internship rates. So for me, I felt like maybe haku negotiate vizuri wakati alikuwa anaingizwa, but that was not my what my struggle. That was not my point to. Yeah, ikuwa my battle, in short. Okay. So factoring everything here, I knew mimi nikikuja kunegotiate staki mchezo. But then now, for you to get to the negotiating table and having discussed your expectations for both you and your employer tells you, okay, this is what we want from you. And then you say, okay, Minataka, this is what I feel will help me support the company well. And then they come back all the way to a budget of 25 G's. That is for like a role, a graphic designer, video editor, and digital marketer, 3 in 1 role. And kutakuwa na utapewa, there was still another scope of work that is still outside your GD. Najua wataweka hapo, but utai expect your kufanya, because I'd seen people do it, and I was not against doing it. It's just that, why can't they pay match the workload? And I get that to go in a period of unemployment, and I'm not opposed to working hard. But for I feel like it's a, what's it called? Inakwanga a big, it's a collaboration and a commitment for the company to expect good work from you, and the employee also needs to be fairly compensated. Ndio akwe motivated to, you know, produce that quality output. And there are people who pointed out that this could have been a step up. True, I could have taken that job and still looked for other jobs elsewhere. But haingeniwezesha ku like I wouldn't be full me being me, I wouldn't be fully invested in the company if I'm constantly looking for other better places. So for me, I prefer to if I'm there. So that I like nakupea kazi fiti and we grow, and then once I decide you're not there, you will just sense that I'm not there. But I know there are people who that can work. You can take that and you could flip it and nini grow from there. Another thing why I couldn't take it was why I couldn't accept that offer was I can't go from an internship. Okay, I can't do two probation. For me, internship is also a probation period. I can't do two probation periods consecutive back to back. For me, what it signals to my brain or what it communicates to me is that you guys can see the value that I hold, but you're being a bit stingy in expenditure. You want to you want value because bado ukikuwa you still be hustled on value, but you don't want to pay for value. Like you don't want to pay full price for value. For me, that's also a bit of a like a red flag. You can't go for two probations at once. If you go for an internship and then you sign a full contract, you can't be on another probation period. An internship is already a probation period. You cannot be on two probation periods consecutively. And three, I can't, as the talent within the company, I can't see you invest in all of these things, and then when it comes to the talent, now me again is where you draw the line for, and with no like justification behind it. No. And fourthly, we do our research. And if I find out that the same role, someone else was paid more, and then for some reason you want to negotiate or double down and save costs, you will save cost to what detriment? What value is it for a company to constantly make hire people, find out the talent comes to find out that you actually doubled down on their budget for a role that you could actually pay and compensate properly, and they are doing good work, and then leave, and then you have to rehire someone, put them again on probation for 3 months. You do the same thing to them, they find out, they leave you. I think that's also a loss on the other part, you know. But that I beg to that's just me. Now, I say this to say this, that I saw it best to take, you know, because yeah, there is the option of learning or developing from that. But I prefer that time I would have I would have used to commute to work, and the time I would have also used to build their company and brand. I use that time to invest in myself and build my own company and my own brand, and try and just do a bit of, outsource for yourself your own client, somewhere where you are the one who detects the value that you have, the value that you want, and dictates the how you want to be paid. S- being self-employed isn't easy, and also being employed isn't easy. It's up to me and you to choose like your heart. So for me, I think I'm on the other side of whereby I rather build my own brand and my own reputation so that I can be able to get the sort of clients that will pay me what I want to be paid. And that's okay. That's that's okay. Maybe that is why I that thing or that deal didn't come through. And now I'm being redirected into like a different path. That's for me. So I said this to say this: you could be the one who's watching this and you would have taken the job, and to you, by the way, no shit, that's your path. There's someone else who's like me who would prefer to use that time or time and energy to build yourself. That's also a path. There's no wrong or right path. It's just take the path with take the path that is least stressful to you and least disadvantageous to you. And that for me, I just thought it best not to continue with the same collaboration. So yeah, navigating the job economy in I don't even think it's just a Nairobian or Kenyan thing. I think for us, it seems to be everywhere, but it's gonna be hard. But I know it's also going to have its good moments. I think the best thing I can do for myself is one, you don't stay a victim for long. Two, constantly upscale and network. And three, constantly show up for yourself and your value and negotiate terms that you want to be paid with, mm, to be paid for, and constantly communicate that through the kind of work that you're doing, and never choosing things that, or choosing rules or payments, whatever, that doesn't align with you, and knowing that you can back up, there's evidence to show that you actually do good work. That's just me. That's just me. So yeah, that was me sharing how navigating this scene has been crazy. It's just been crazy. It's not even a Gen Z or a millennial thing. It's been bad for all of us, but we just choose to handle it differently. There's no wrong or right way. It's just how we choose to handle it differently. So yeah, bye bye.